Hi, I'm Pip Waller and this is Being Human. And this talk is a continuation of what I spoke about yesterday to do with why it's difficult to relax, or why when we're first switching on our parasympathetic nervous system, we actually can feel pretty awful. So I don't know how it happened, but yesterday's talk just kind of ended dead before the end. And of course, I can't really remember what I was going to say. So I'm just going to expand or talk a little bit more about that topic for anyone that's interested. It's a very curious phenomenon when we've been stressed for a long time, and we're we're a bit addicted to the stress. And that's partly because when we stop and that parasympathetic switches on, which is where we're going to be able to heal and repair, replenish, rejuvenate, regenerate our body's tissues, give our minds a rest, etc. When we allow that to happen, all of the feelings of exhaustion come up. And that can be extremely challenging for us to cope with, especially when we're in the habit of needing to be high energy in order to feel okay, in order to feel normal. And then there's the other phenomenon, which is that all the healing mechanisms of the body, they happen in the parasympathetic zone. It's like, when we're stressed, for example, when we're stressed and we've got all that cortisol, it suppresses inflammation, and that actually suppresses healing. So when we're relaxed and then we're maximizing the healing, now that's a really good thing to actually ponder on. I'm quite a strong believer in looking at how things operate in physiology and realizing that those same principles apply to our minds and our spirits, and very often to nature, to all around us. So that resting period is the time which allows, you could say in nature, the resting period of winter, the deep rest where nothing's really happening. That's what allows a fertile and rich new growth in the spring. So for us, like that resting period of the parasympathetic zone has to be fully activated to allow. That's what actually allows us to our bodies to really regenerate, rejuvenate, and to stay in good shape. So that also applies to our minds. So what is the supreme, one of the supreme healing mechanisms that our minds have in order to properly process difficult, painful experiences? And what that is the feeling and the expression of our emotions. The feeling and expression of our emotions is what allows our minds to stay as healthy as possible. Interesting idea, eh? Well, when you think about what's going on in a modern societies where it's suppression. How are you? Fine. That's the right answer, right? Not how are you? Well, actually, I'm crying because I've lost something important to me, or because something happened that was painful, or actually I feel really scared and I'm trembling, and I feel my body's stiff, so I'm yawning. I'm getting that out. Or I feel nervous and embarrassed, so I'm laughing. What am I doing? I'm talking to a camera. Maybe people are listening. It's ridiculous. See, actually, if I let myself feel it, I'm actually a little bit scared right now. So if I actually loosen up a bit and find the way to let myself feel how I'm feeling, then some kind of, we could call it emotional release, or the discharge of emotional energy, some of that will start to arise. So here's the thing, that doesn't happen if we're in sympathetic mode. Fight or flight, right? Stress. A dangerous situation, something I might need to run away from, fight, play dead, whatever. This isn't a time where I feel safe and I can allow my feelings to arise. Okay, so if we've been in sympathetic mode for a long time, and our societies do encourage, even insist on us being in that mode a lot of the time, when we switch into parasympathetic mode, what can happen is now there's a feeling of safety, right? In parasympathetic mode, there's actually a safety. Then the feelings that we haven't had time to process and feel, they come up. And for a lot of us, there's an avalanche, a massive, huge backlog, or sometimes a whole lifetime, it could be 80 years of feelings coming up, or 30, or, however old you are. So we need to be sort of prepared for that. Like, I'm going to feel physically exhausted because my tanks are empty. And maybe if I start to feel like sad or this or that, maybe I can find a way of letting that be there, you know. I mean, you can notice what your feelings are. If you feel like, actually what I feel is really nervous and anxious, you know, really like afraid, then see if you can get laughing, like do some laughing yoga, phone a friend that, you know, get hold of a friend that's funny, watch films or comedy that makes you laugh. If you can tell that actually, you know, there's a really sad thing that happened that I never get to cry about, I've been putting it off, sometimes putting it off for 40 years, for a year, for 2 weeks, whatever, then do whatever you can to encourage yourself, permit yourself to cry. I mean, sometimes like to turn me into that zone, if I need to do it and I've gone a bit sort of numb and can't feel anymore, I'll do something like I'll listen to very sad music, or I'll watch a film like Steel Magnolias is a classic, great weepy. Actually, it's also funny, so that's a perfect one. Something, you know, that can get the emotions moving and bear with it. The work of the play or the fun of relaxing, learning to relax, maximising your parasympathetic system, that takes time. And if you've been stressed for a really long time, it's going to take some time before your tanks are full. It's like your credit card was maxed to the limit, over the limit maybe. You've stopped spending, you're starting to save. There's a bit of a difficult time. It takes time for the coffers to be full. And then even a bit longer, that's to get just to neutral, right? And even a bit longer to get so you've actually got reserves to spare. So good luck with it. I'm Pip Waller. This is Being Human. Thanks for listening.